is so cool. He just goes by a word instead of a name, and that word is speed.
Oh, my name is Steve, and I'm a peppermint and baby Eric.
Okay.
And I gotta tell you something, this is gonna be the last time I'm not gonna wear a speed outfit. This is a little baby speed outfit. And it is signed
That's
by
why I
a
showed up, Steve.
It was 1960. I was in my living room with my parents, Ida and Martin Suckowitz. That was my original name, Bernie Suckowitz, in Brooklyn. And I was standing there wearing my pajamas with giraffes on them, looking into a white, snowy television set. And we had just celebrated my 65th birthday. We had one time. Richard Nixon came through the television set and he said, "This is that Nixon show." My mother was the same. Little Gladys Simon Nixon was only 5 feet tall. But she was the same. And Aunt Jeannie Kim Tai Nixon was adopted by my grandfather, the great Frank Nixon Sr. of Steubenville, Ohio. She won a Pan-Ohio comedy infant contest when she was 2 years old. I'll never forget when I was voted the best high school student in all of California by Harvard, and Jean said, "I think this calls for argument." The year was 1960, and I was running for president. The future, the past, the present, John Kerry was trying. What are you trying to say, Don? I forgot what I was trying to say. Perhaps I could ask my son. I can't believe I'm losing this fucking debate. I'd known JFK for years. We had met at a Home Depot in 1947, beginning of the year. He was buying a Rudy Love lamp and Berger carpet. I was buying track lighter. He was the swinging playboy. Pat and I put everything we had into a motorhome in Alexandria, Virginia. Several years later, I was on the tarmac in Beijing with Kissinger, eating $2 million top secret egg rolls. We were next to Joanne Lai. And I'll never forget, the national anthem was being played that night by Gladys and Jean, and the Chinese National Marching Band being led by those two incredible conductors. And it never sounded as sweet as it did on that day in Beijing, and that was because they're playing the Chinese national anthem. And I turned to Kissinger and I said, "Could we get a more bouncy, upbeat national anthem? Something like there's no business like show business by Ethel Merman." Kissinger could not answer because he was eating a $2 million top secret egg roll. And then I came home and got impeached by all the liberal maniacs, the New York Times, cocksuckers. And I'll never forget walking to the speech on August 8th, 1974. I felt like I was on the Villa Rosa. And then I saw David Eisenhower and I realized I was in the White House where I had been since I was 39. And I got myself together and I said, those of you who would like to stay in public service, like Linda Marcus Smith, do so if you wish. But remember, never be petty. Always give your best. And you can only know what it's like on the highest mountain if you've been in the lowest valley. And only then can you say, fuck them, if they can't take a joke. Thank you so much.